everything we've done has been ready for assembly, and there's been no real visual progress. So today I'm going to chuck some stuff on and I'm going to get this machine put together. Here we've got the linear rail, and that's going to go on the side here, and I'll chuck that on, and then we've got to put the rack and pinion on the bottom of this gantry frame, and then we can get this build looking something like a CNC machine. So once they're both on, I'll be able to chuck on that gantry plate and attach that to the beam that is over there. So you can see they're on nicely now, and slowly it starts to take shape. So we've got the linear motion on there now, and the rack and pinion is on the bottom like you just saw. What I'm going to do now is get this gantry and mock it up on there with the 3D printed end frames and see what that looks like. Right, I've got all the bearings on, as you can see. I did notice that there's obviously quite a bit of flex in these because they are 3D printed, and there's also a bit of twist in them, but I'm not too fussed at the moment because I know that these are just sort of placeholders for the aluminium gantry plates that I've got on order. So we're going to just mount it, test fit it all on these rails, see what it looks like, get a bit of satisfaction out of the build, because so far it's just been, you know, framework and a little bit boring on that side of things. But let's get this gantry on and see how it looks. So as you can see, like I said, there's flex in these plates. Don't even look at that and think, oh my god, what have you done? Like I said, it's a placeholder to get these in, check the measurements, make sure the movement's right, make sure there's nothing conflicting with anything I've made. And so far I'm quite pleased with that. So in order to mount this Z-axis onto this little gantry, oh, that's the Z-axis plate, I don't know, everything's a gantry plate, isn't it? To mount this to here, so that I can have it all on the gantry beam, this has the sort of V-slot system, and I've had to take the end plate off from the top there, and I bought some of these from Ooze Nest. Now these are little inserts. So these are like a fixed, not a fixed insert, but you have to install these from the end. But I did also buy these, which are like twist styles. You can put them in retrospectively, but for this particular bit I want to do this properly because I've got time to do this at the moment. So these are going to get slotted in through the end here. Hopefully they fit. Yeah, there you go. So I need 4 of them in there. Then I can align those this way. This is so boring, sorry everyone. With the back plate, and see these holes here line up with these 2 channels here. I can just screw them in basically. So I'll do the bottom ones, slide it down, do the top ones, and then that can be mounted back on there, and then I can get the end plate back on there, and we can test out how this Z-axis looks on the gantry. Right, so that's the Z-axis on. Looks pretty cool, doesn't it? So that was mounted, and I had to put a little shim in between there. You won't be able to see it, I doubt. Let's have a look. There you go. Basically, I had to put the shims in, or the spacers, just because of the clearance here. So the back of this nylock was actually touching the plate very slightly, and now just with a simple little washer in between, I've managed to clear it. That did mean though that I was not able to use these little 10mm screws that came, the M5 screws that I ordered from Ooze Nest, as part of my idea for a solution for this. But I know we'll use them again, and I'm definitely doing another build like this because I'm enjoying it. So that's on. So yeah, anyway, this now is here to move the torch head up and down, and I can mount a NEMA, so a NEMA 23, which is this little stepper motor. It's going to be mounted on top of there. Something else I did when I ordered all the bits was ordered a bundle of M5 bits and bobs off eBay, just cheap stuff. But I've got about 50 of these M5 nylock nuts, which is really helpful because you just don't know what you're going to use them on. I do now, obviously. These are the little bits I hadn't really given much thought. These were the bits I hadn't designed on the CAD drawing. I then decided be good to design on the machine, and I think it actually is going to pay off, you know, guys. It's going to pay off. So it actually feels like a proper machine now. Now something's together. Oh, this is difficult. Right, that's in. Let's get the magic adjustable wrench thing. There we have it. Anyway, I'll show you how good this pinion fits in here. So it sits directly on top of the V-grooves, whatever they call them, the V channels. And can you see the pinion moving on there? That is spot on. Pull you over to have a look. So there you can see what we've done here. We got the Z-axis motion controller there. We have the, I'm going to call this the Y-axis, I don't know. And that is mounted on the handy bracket that actually came from, you can't see it because it's all black. The handy bracket that came from Ooze Nest, there you go, you can see it there. And then the 15x15 rack that I bought with the Mod 1 sizing, and this 30-tooth pinion gear underneath fits perfectly. And if I show you the alignment, that is, just couldn't be better, could it? Then that means that I can put some of these inserts in to hold this in place, and there's no problem to solve here because we just get a length of rack along the top of the gantry beam. That means we've then solved our motion control. So that's basically how the gantry is going to look. The only other thing to look at, I haven't bought the plasma cutter yet, it's something I'm working on, just trying to work out if I'm going to go over hypertherm or not. I'll just turn another light on, and then I'll turn this one off. dirty switch. So yeah, that's it there. You can see a bit of reflection on, and then I've just got to work out what torch is going to be on there, so that I know what size of torch mount to make for this plate, so it holds the torch off away from those bits up there. So if you look down, you can see that Z-axis plate is set back quite far from those, so I'm hoping that the torch mount will offset it enough to clear both of those. And like I said, if not, well, there's no other way around it. I can't cut this one because then I'll have to cut the top one, and that's holding the stepper on, so that's the end of that. That's the way it is. But that's the setup, and I'm quite happy with that. I'm just going to put the other light on again. I just think that looks good. All nice and neat, all the cables in the same direction. They can all be tidied upwards like this onto some kind of boom to hold all them. And then we can have like a nice hood. I'm thinking just like a canopy style hood, a shallow one, obviously above head height because no one likes it in their head, although we all do it all the time. And that will catch all the fumes, and I can have that vented outside, and yeah, we'd be good to go. So my next step for the next video is going to be amending these. So I don't know if you remember from the last video, we had, well, I had the idea, I'm going to show you it now. It's all mocked up. This don't want to fall off because I'll be crying. Right, let me get you in focus. So this was where the stepper was going to be mounted on the bottom there. So the hole is for the shaft to go through, but retrospectively that hole needs to be much wider because the pinion gear that is in there actually has quite a big, like not a collet, but quite a big neck on it before it comes to the gear, and that neck's going to have to sit near that hole. So that needs redesigning. Also, because I don't know what happened, I just got it wrong. I thought I was putting the rack closer to the gantry end plates. All the holes in the bottom, so these elongated holes, they need to be, God, this ain't focusing at all. Hang on. So all the holes, the elongated holes, they're good and they will work for changing the size or the diameter of the pinion gear. However, I noticed that I hadn't allowed for them to pass underneath the end of the gantry plate. But in this particular instance, it's not going to be an issue because, as you can see, I've got loads of space between the actual hole itself and the rack itself. So I can redesign that in CAD so that all this bottom plate is moved further over this way, and also that means that the elongated holes will miss the bottom of the gantry plate. So that will solve that issue, because I had a bit of a sleepless moment the other day, or night, whatever you want to call it. I couldn't get to sleep because I was thinking, what am I going to do, what am I going to do? I've ordered my gantry plates, they're 100 quid, and I've also messed it up. But turns out I haven't, so I am quite clever even though I don't know it.